What's up, YouTube? Today we have a kind of philosophy of use style EDC carrying types thing. We're going to go over some stuff that to me is well, kind of like the good and the bad. Honestly, that it's more of like what I consider to be optional versus what I don't. One, a flashlight. I don't consider it to be optional. That one likes to go off in my pocket, so I carry it with the top slightly twisted out. The reason for me, and I think really for anybody, you should always have a flashlight is because it gets dark out like half of the time. And I understand, by the way, friend of the channel, using this Gilly Custom koozie, it gets dark out. And it really is, I think, city people who have this idea that you don't need to have a light. I think everybody else has a light in their car or the truck. And although that might not be like on their person, I happen to wear the, what kind of pants are they? The 511 tactical pants is what I wear. And they have a magazine little pouch by your front left hand. So I just put this in there. Which I'm putting it back in there right now. That's what she said. You should just have one, basically. This one, for me, and I think for a lot of other people, is also definitely 100% of the time it's getting carried, is mace. This is really nice, strong mace. It's legally, I think, as far as I can go. But it has OC and also CS, and I would recommend that you get both of those. Blistex, because the sun comes out. Now we're getting kind of into like the weapons type thing. For me, this is a non-negotiable carry item if I can, which is I can like 98% of the time. But it's the thing from Steel City Cutlery, and it is a Pacal knife. It's pretty, I mean, you literally pull it, right, so you're like, it's chilling, you get it out. I swear it doesn't. Let me see, I'll show you straight up out of the pocket draw. I got it. So, I have it like this. And then, bam, it's my pocket. There's a front pocket that's like for pins, and I just put it there, so it's always chilling right by my hand. Get that finger around, and you got a perfect. And then you're ripping and tearing. And if I go to the ground, I want to be able to instantly win, and that gives me that ability, that piece of gear. I would say that you need it. But a lot of people, they have this weird game going on where they think that they carry a gun and that means all of the problems of this world are solved and no longer apply to them. Let me tell you something that's not true. One, the 21-foot rule exists for a reason. If you don't know what that is, you got no business carrying a gun. But if somebody with a knife charges you from 21 feet away, you will not have enough time to draw, if you're wearing it on your hip, to draw it to clear leather and fire. You're not even going to clear leather. Meaning, it's going to come up like this in your holster, and then whoever is running at you is going to be like, ta, 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 and then you're going to be dead. And it doesn't matter that you had a gun. So, I mean, would it matter in that instance that if you had any of the stuff that we're talking about today? No. But the bottom line is that this idea that, oh, I carry a gun, I don't need to know anything ever about other human beings and assessing threats and minimizing threats and, how to use force, how to escalate force. What is the, just carrying a gun doesn't mean anything. And beyond that, just because you have a gun does not mean that you are armed. That's like saying that because I have a guitar, I'm a musician. That is simply not the case. You are going to need to learn how to use that firearm, and it's going to take thousands of not only rounds, as in, but hours. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. So, good luck, civilians. I wish you the best. Really, right now, if you actually, the people that are being cunts in the comments, until you do that, until you have spent years worth of your free time on a range, and you can triple tap something like No Tomorrow, and you already know how to clear stuff. You've been to kill houses. You've been to things like Stu Seagal, where they're spending millions of dollars to put you through simulated combat. There's no need for you to tell me anything about firearms, all right? I just know way more than you, and I'm always going to know way more than you. Because if you really had the drive, if you had the drive to sate your curiosity, which you don't have either of those things, you would know that really, if you're really wanting to like live and die by the sword, you should probably be learning and not surfing YouTube. You know what I mean? And like leaving comments on small time gear review channels. But hey, you know what I mean? If it makes you feel better, that's great. But the bottom line is that what it really was happening is people carrying guns is making them feel better and they feel safer, but they're not safer at all. Anyway, moving right along. We'll come back to that in a minute. I'll be carrying this. It is from Killing Time Customs, KTC. They're on Instagram. You can find them. Hit them up. They make neat stuff. This is one of the, I don't want to say smaller, but it's one of the easier to carry knucks that I own. That is, single finger metal and very, very ergonomic. And it actually has some weight to it, but I don't know if it would work as a fist load, but maybe. But yeah, this is super up close, super personal. Usually I would carry full size, but because I want to carry something like that, throw this in my pocket, and, I hope that I don't have to use it, honestly, but now we're coming to this bad boy. It is a SAP by Witch Doctor Zero. One, very ergonomic and neat looking. I really like his more interesting style work is great. The spring doesn't bend at all, basically. It's super duper stiff. This is a big piece of lead, and you've got different points to brace your fingers or to index, and then you've got other points for people. But yeah, this is one that just the way it's built, this thing is meant for the hack and slap style. You're hacking away, and whenever you can, depending on how much force you want to apply, you're using this to really hurt somebody. I watched something recently where one of the makers was like, these things are effective. I think it was Dirty Mike or somebody. I guess maybe he gets messages, people, wondering, but no, these definitely would totally obliterate somebody's head and end them promptly. So you need to be careful. You need to learn how to use it. You need to practice. But beyond that, you also need to realize is that you just throwing a gun in your back pocket and strutting around, like, first of all, you probably are a bad shot. Most people aren't good shots. So there's that. Even if you knew how to use the weapon and you knew the mechanics of combat and you knew all this stuff, it's tough for me to think that you would be a killer. A gun is basically going to be a tool for you to use. It is a tool. I consider firearms to be tools. I don't really think of them as weapons. I don't really think as weapons. I think as weapons as tools. So it's not. Don't get it twisted. But I'm just saying that you carrying a firearm, yeah, you can now legally engage threats at, an underhanded softball throw that's nice and easy away from you accurately. Since you're not going to have a rifle on you, most likely, you're really not going to be that big of a threat past 25 paces or so. And I mean, it's just the way it is. Like, you, to really be a threat, no joke, you need like a long gun and semi-automatic, and then some other stuff as well. But I'm just saying that it just, I don't think as guns that people carry in like CCWs type, civilian situations. I think them, really in my mind. Not that I like cognitively think of this every single time, but I think of them more as like buzzsaws that are easier to use and kind of a different noisy. But I'm just saying that you're going to have to be so close, and you're going to be so limited on who you can engage. Although there is definitely an advantage. Cheers. Especially if you're defending yourself, someone's actually physically coming after you. But this idea that, well, now I'm good to go. I got my trusty, big iron on my hip, and I'm gonna drive on down to the old down road. I'm gonna cry till I can't no more. I don't know what song that comes from, but it's just like, guys, if you haven't like served in the military, it's no one that has, and I have, no one that has is believes your lies. I'm just telling you straight up. So anyway, enough of that negativity. The positive, the other side of that is this. There are many things that are very easy to use to defend yourself. One of them would be this thing. It doesn't take rocket science to club somebody over the head or anywhere else. And also, if you have a martial arts background, like I do, there are other ways to use this. You could also pretty easily pick up the knowledge to use it proficiently in a fashion that is beyond just the head clubbing. Is this like a panacea? You are now so there's nothing that will stop you? No, but I will say this. I feel much more capable and armed with a SAP versus without. And just simply, since I've been carrying SAPs a lot more, I really see brass knuckles as a very intimate, close-in weapon that I don't want to have to use hardly ever, simply because, even in conjunction with mace, which I would be using this in conjunction with mace in one hand, that in the other, it's... I lost my train of thought. I'm just, even the brass knuckles, they're just an intimate weapon. Same thing with knives, really. And one of the reasons I carry brass knuckles is so that I can let my knives be knives, meaning I'm primarily carrying this, for anything, obviously, it's a knife, but, if I have to eat, I'm going to use this. I don't need to have, a very close and intimate style weapon that is also a knife, as that style, weapon, tool, is going to be my brass knuckles, is going to be that little thing that I just had out. That thing that, that I have out that is just for the one knuckle, single finger knuckle, it can be pretty relaxed and pretty unassuming. It doesn't have to be the whole thing, because I'm going to have this in my back pocket. Obviously, the whole structure and strata of that EDC is going to be in limbo and shifting depending on where those, not whatever you want to call them, I don't know, data points or whatever that these represent. So this is, if I had a smaller one, obviously I might carry a bigger impact weapon, like a 2-finger knuckle, or maybe even a full-size knuckle. It's just, that's how I would think of it. It's how I think of it. I'm not saying, believe me, I'm not saying you shouldn't carry a gun. But there are things to consider. Like, so you carry a gun, you go to the bar. You can't legally carry a gun and be intoxicated. And it doesn't take many drinks.
especially if, I'm not saying you'll be all hammered, but like if you have 3 drinks inside of a single hour, this is a long talk. I'm sorry about this. If you have 3 drinks inside of a single hour, you're gonna blow high enough where they could be, if they wanted to be dickheads, they could say, "Oh, you're illegally carrying this." So let's say you leave it in your truck. Someone that doesn't like you knows that you leave it there, steals your piece. This idea that I get sometimes, it's on the videos that go viral that I put up. They act like guns are like, are like lightsabers, and it makes them a Jedi. Like, that's not how it works, you know? And the idea that the logistics of your day don't change if you have a firearm on you just tells me that you have absolutely no fucking idea what you're doing. And you probably should just not even carry a firearm, because you're just going to hurt yourself or somebody else, or you're going to irresponsibly do something silly and then have it stolen and then commissioned to use crimes. So please, for the love of God, really think about how you legally carry a firearm in good faith, not cutting corners, not doing stupid things, and then tell me that's as easy as not carrying one, but still carrying tools that allow you to pretty easily apply lethal force, although not maybe at a distance, but to not take it into account that the distance that we're talking about, the pistol is going to allow you, is going to be around 20 feet or maybe 15 big paces. And even then, you're going to be very much, depending on what's happening legally, if you want to just kill, you're going to be very restricted in what you can do. And if you want to do it safely and not put other people's lives in danger in an urban situation, it's going to be tricky. Like, people just act like, I don't know, man. It blows me. It really does just blow me away. I'm not joking when I say that. Makes me think that a lot of people aren't locking their guns up at home. You know, this whole attitude of like, I just leave my gun somewhere. Like, buddy, look, I find a gun laying around, it's mine. I'm not saying I would break into anywhere, but I happen to go to the park and somebody's gun is left somewhere. The gun is mine. Not turning it in, not, you know, and if you want to go report it, you know, whatever, good luck, because then eventually at some point you're going to have to explain, why did you leave it at the park, you know? I'm just saying, man, because the 21-foot rule even only applies if you have it on your hip. So in situation, I mean, if you're really acting like you are the most capable gunslinger, even when you can't open carry, like where you're at, like, so you just like keep it out and about, eventually you're going to leave it somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this obviously this video is too long, but it's one of those that just blows me away, man. How unsafe some people are behaving. And I'm not really one to clutch pearls, like, oh my God. But it's one of those things, dude, where, you know, maybe in your area, leaving your piece in your whip is not a big deal, but that's not going to be for every area. And obviously this complicated discussion has totally, almost entirely revolved around how our EDC philosophy changes and morphs when you introduce things like firearms to it. And look, I literally never have I said, I mean, I encourage people to own and carry firearms. But this idea that, oh, I just do this, it's like, well, then you're just doing it incorrectly. Like, because it should make things inherently much more complex. This whole idea that, oh, I just threw, I mean, like, dude, are you like some gangbanger that just like throws it in the front pocket of their basketball shorts? Like, grow up. Anyway, that's what all she wrote for this one. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. You folks have a good rest of your day. Bye now.